Video games aren't woke, people are just weird. Now, unless you've been living under a rock as far as gaming news is concerned, then you've heard people say that insert game here is woke. Apex is woke, Overwatch is woke, games pander to, just have, diversity in it and things of that nature. But those people are just weird. The people who sit around and complain about video games being woke don't really know what the fuck they're actually talking about. And a lot of the time, they're just weird and racist and homophobic. A lot of the times when people see a black person or a woman in any game, especially their really manly games, they scream and cry and say that the game is woke and that it's pandering to people, but in reality they're just weirdos. So let's talk about it.
Now a word from our sponsors.
Hi, before using Dubby, I was a father of 12, but now, after Dubby, I'm a deadbeat dad.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Let's see what we got in here for the Dubby. Big Dubby! We got the motherfucking... We got the motherfucking... Oh shit. So the first flavor of Dubby, we have peach and beet.
You what?
Second flavor of Dubby, we got the dragon milk. Next flavor we have laxative.
What?
Laxy grenade. Next flavor we have this is a zero sugar powder pack. And last but certainly not least, we have Heinz Berry Splash. I'm Wasabi, and this has been your Dubby advertisement.
Now, this has been a topic that I've been wanting to touch on for a minute now, so I'm gonna try not to get too rambly, but I kind of want to, give a little bit of a history with this, because gaming news and people calling games woke, it wasn't always like this. This is still kind of sort of a newish thing that's been going on for, I would say, about 11 years now. So let's just go back in time a little bit to the origins of people calling games and people using the word woke in like gaming media. I say that this originally started way back when in 2014-ish. Grand Theft Auto 5 just got released. Gaming is in a good state, but around this time, Gamergate was a thing still. And this is when you really start to see, people starting to use the word woke when it comes to games, and people saying that, feminism is gonna ruin games, and that feminists are gonna, make games boring and, make all the female characters ugly and blah 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 blah. And I don't know how many of you remember the woman named Amina Sarkeesian. I think that was her name or something like that. That whole Gamergate thing is what I really think started the whole games are becoming woke and people are trying to ruin games with politics and pandering to people with having random diversity and random women characters and everything up under the sun. So when I say that people calling games is new, it's only about 11 years old. It hasn't been a thing for that long, but I feel like if it started anywhere, it started then. It started when the Gamergate and Amina Sarkeesian was just ravaging the internet, making all of the mouth breathing ass niggas on the internet really pissed off. Because from what I remember, I could be wrong and I will try to do as much research as I can, but what I remember at the time in 2013-2014-ish, the people who were really mad and starting to call games woke were more pressed about, female characters becoming quote unquote ugly. And ugly to these people is women having regular bodies and women not having titties and asses the sizes of fucking Mack trucks to 18 wheelers and shit. That's what they mean by ugly, and them not being these dainty little fairies that barely have on any fucking clothes. That's what they mean by ugly. But I feel like if I had to pinpoint a start of when people started calling games woke, I feel like that would be the time period, and I feel like it's only gotten worse ever since then, because it seems like ever since then a lot of people on the internet use any and every excuse to call any game woke that has any hint of diversity, any women characters, any minority characters, anything that's just not the status quo of what they want the game to look like. And while we're still going back in time, another game that I do remember people shitting on it for being quote unquote woke was The Last of Us 2. Now, not the game entirely of The Last of Us, because the first Last of Us game had, female characters that were in lead roles and everything like that. But The Last of Us 2 in particular, because of the character design of the character Abby. Abby wasn't, the regular, design female character. She's more muscular. She's more muscular. She doesn't have, you know, a dainty little body, a high-pitched voice, big-ass titties, and a fat ass that a lot of the motherfuckers really want her to look like. She was more muscle-bound and more, you know, built. Not like any other female character in the Last of Us series has been portrayed as. And people were basically saying that, like, you know, oh, she's ugly. Why did they make the character ugly? And blah, 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 blah. When in reality, none of that really fucking matters to the story, which is what people need to be paying attention to. But a crowd of people who call games woke also say that, you know, making female characters ugly is, you know, like, you know, making the games worse. When in reality, they just want to stare at titties for, like, you know, the 40 hours that they're playing the game. And we all know how that ends up. And now let's go back to present times. In present times, we are in like the worst timeline when it comes to people calling games and anime and everything up under the sun woke that has a hint of diversity or a woman character that's in the lead role, you know, because God forbid a woman have a lead role in a video game or a movie or even, you know, an anime. But I digress. But like I said, we're kind of in like the worst part of it because every game that comes out, people love to call it woke. Every game that comes out that they don't like or doesn't fit their standard of what they think a good game is, and it ends up not doing well, they blame it on it being woke. People blame Concord for failing for being woke, even though that had nothing to do with why it failed. It was just a terrible fucking game. Every game that does not have just this stereotypical manly man Duke Nukem ass character or Duke Nukem ass storyline is a woke game apparently. Because if I can find the picture, I'm gonna put it in this video. People are like, you know, putting out like, you know, list of games that are woke, a list of games that are like, you know, pandering for diversity and pandering to people, you know, with all the pronouns and all the other type of stuff. People are legit putting out lists of regular games, but according to them are woke. I kid you not, I legit saw somebody post one of these lists and it had God of War Ragnarok as a woke game. God of War, you know, the one about Kratos, the fucking God of War. Like, I don't fucking understand it. You know what? Actually, I do, because even the original creator of the God of War series falls for this stupid shit. Because apparently to him, character development and Kratos not just running around chopping people's heads off and ripping people's eyes out, that's peak storytelling to him. That's what he thinks peak storytelling is. Not character growth, not Kratos learning from his mistakes and being a good father and potentially becoming a better man, you know, because of it. No, he just wants him to run around and basically be a Devil May Cry, you know, reboot hack and slash. Doesn't really want character growth, doesn't want an actual fucking story, just wants to Duke Nukem, run around and just chop people's heads off type shit. I get it. People are weird. And that's kind of my tagline for this video. People are fucking strange. It's gotten so bad that people are saying God of War is woke. And it gets worse when you got people on the internet saying that Space Marines 2 is woke or has like woke things in it. There's this weird motherfucker on YouTube, I don't want to say his name, but he's saying that Space Marines 2 is woke because of the fact that they had a woman in command who was a commander or a general or some shit. Space Marines 2. Now, I don't know much about, you know, the Warhammer universe or the Warhammer 40k universe, but the last thing they give a flying fuck about is what gender you are. If you got working hands, fingers, feet, arms, they're gonna give you a gun and tell you to go shoot the aliens that's trying to fucking kill them. They don't fucking care. And I just want to and that was just, you know, a big preface of these people are ruining how games are covered, and they honestly ruin gaming conversations in general because the mouth-breathing neckbeard motherfuckers who believe them, they spew this shit on the internet on a daily basis, it seems like now. It seems like no matter what game comes out, it's either woke, it's either pandering, it's something. And gaming news is already in a weird space as like every time a game comes out, if 500,000 people aren't playing it every hour on the hour, then it's a dead game apparently. That's a whole nother conversation. But genuinely, these types of people make talking about games a fucking headache because everything is woke, everything is pandering, and they can never be satisfied unless they get some Duke Nukem ass damsel in distress story for every single game that they play. And there's no satisfying these people. And they're fucking everywhere. And they say that every single game is woke, every single game is pandering. Or they'll even get on the, oh, if you play this game, you're a bitch, or you're a pussy, or you're gay, and blah blah blah. And they just end up sounding like the most weird, mouth-breathing, neck-beard type of motherfuckers that exist on the internet. And it has always annoyed me, and I never thought that it would get this bad. And I'm not saying like it's just this big epidemic, but it's big enough to where like it ruins gaming conversations about, you know, is this game actually good? Because as controversial as The Last of Us 2 was, as far as its story and as far as, you know, what they did with the actual characters, I don't know what the fuck was going on with my For You page that year. It took me forever to find actual reviews of the game. Instead, it was all just weird motherfuckers complaining about the way that Abby is built. They're complaining that she has muscles, because apparently if it's a female character in the video game, they can't have muscles. They just gotta have titties, thighs, and ass. That's it. Nothing else. And you would think that these people would get tired of saying the same things, because they say the same things about movies. They say the same things about TV shows. Every TV show is woke. Every movie is woke. Every Marvel movie in the world is woke to these people. And it gets worse once, you know, certain games, you know, want to add pronouns to their games. I believe it was StarCraft 2. Some weird motherfucker on the internet was crashing out because in the beginning of the game, they ask you to select your pronouns. Because, you know, forbid, you know, a game actually want to have, because, you know, forbid a game actually want to be inclusive for once, actually wants to, you know, let people feel like, you know, they belong in the game, in that community for that game. And he was on here crashing out because they asked him for his pronouns. And it's just something that I've never really understood, because at the end of the day, we are talking about fucking video games. This is not a fucking masculinity contest, and it never has been. People are just weird. Games aren't woke, movies aren't woke, TV shows aren't woke, people are just fucking strange. This is not a masculinity contest. We are talking about fantasy worlds that aren't real. And then it gets even worse once you start talking about the quote unquote political side of games. Because these people will talk your fucking ear off saying that, you know, you need to keep politics out of my games, and their favorite game is Fallout. Because, you know, I don't want politics in my games, but my favorite game is Call of Duty, you know, the game where I'm an American soldier fighting for the American government. And in one of the Call of Duty games, you meet one of the former fucking presidents of the United States. You know, just the games where there's just no politics at all. Well, I don't want any politics in my game. That's why my favorite game is Spec Ops: The Line. These are the same people to where if any type of political thing is in a game, now all of a sudden it's bad. Newsflash, majority of your favorite, I guarantee you, I 99% guarantee you, your favorite game has politics in it. Your favorite game cannot be Detroit Become Human and you say you don't want politics in your games. Damn near every game has politics. Now, how close those politics relate to the real world, it depends on the game. It depends on what the game is about and what the game actually is. But the truth of the matter is, politics are in damn near every game, to be honest with you. Even if it's a multiplayer game, there's some type of politics involved in the lore. Hell, Overwatch has some politics in it. The lore of Overwatch is basically about overthrowing a fucking government regime and being a part of a rebel task force. That's basically like the lore of Overwatch. But if you let these motherfuckers tell you, that ruins the game, and also some of the characters being gay ruins the game. It's just fucking strange to me. I've never understood it. Games aren't woke, you're just a weirdo.